Do you need encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Purdue.
Hey, come on in today. Welcome to everybody. Thank you. Let's do something today to help build you up, Buttercup. All right. Let's get some motivation, inspiration. Let's encourage each other to when we know things come in life that we can get through it and still have a great time, great life, and go from there. Hey, today our guest, she helps people become freed from stuck. Hey, you ever been stuck before? I know I have. So she's going to help you get freed from stuck by showing them how to access internal resources they never knew they had, to create what they never knew they could, and combining with coaching, counseling, and hypnosis. There we go. Try to spit that out for a second. Hey, she is the author of the book. Let's put that book up here. Author of the book called Free from Stuck, Dare to Cross the Bridge Beyond Grief, Trauma, and Self-Sabotage to Discover Lasting Change Now. Welcome to the show, Susie Hayes.
Thank you, Dr. James. It is a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm glad that you're here so you can help get us going and get us fired up today. So I like your book there, the bridge right there. And so that's you running across the bridge. That's nice. So,
well, that's not me, but yes, whoever's
you should just go with the flow. Just say, yeah, this we physically fit. And you should go with the flow.
I have to be honest and say that no, that is not me crossing that bridge.
Well, that's good that you're honest. So that's good. So and from there, because I do believe in the honesty format. So, all right, Susan, well, thank you again for being here, and tell people thank you for sharing their time with us, because we know that time is valuable, and we go from there. So, all right, Susie. So you come up with this system of yours, okay, teaching people what they didn't know they had. Can you tell us how you come about this?
Yes, I actually created the book when I came to understand that helping people become freed from stuck was what I have been doing all of my career. And it came about when a colleague of mine approached me. He had just started a publishing company. And he said, I know you have a book in you. And I said, no, I never wanted to write a book. But in fact, we did have a conversation and discovered that that was what I did. And so we went with that. And in the course of that exploration, I realized that there were actually 5 elements that were essential to becoming free from stuck, and more importantly, in order to stay freed from stuck.
Good deal. And I'm a firm believer that everybody should write a book, if nothing else, their memoir. That way, when they're dead and gone, their great kids can know how grandma used to be and how she went through times of tragedy, and to help you developed your information, your course here, and everything. And yeah, I believe everybody should write. Now, everybody won't, but again, I believe everybody should. Just because I wish I would have got stories put in a book format from my grandparents so I can remember them today. And so, but I believe everybody should write one.
Well, I was pleased after I accomplished this. I don't have any intention at this point to write any more books, but I'm very pleased with the results of this piece.
Good deal. And when did this book come out?
I believe it was published in 2017. It's
Okay.
been out a few years, yeah.
Oh, you're still young enough to get another 10 more books out.
I could
So,
possibly, yes.
yeah, so it's exciting to think of the possibilities out there. Now, how long did it take you to create this manuscript and to be published?
Actually, I believe we produced this in about 3 months.
There we go. Moving on.
Yes, otherwise, I've seen people tortured for very long periods of time writing, and we used a process primarily of interviewing that really helped us consolidate and put things together. And then he was very excellent in terms of organizing all of the information and actually uh, came up with the idea of creating an acronym for those 5 elements of the FREED.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm a big fan of acronyms. So they're tremendous in helping you remember things and place things in order with those I'm really big of that. So
Yes.
with 3 months, I mean that's amazing in itself. Taking 3 months to do this. So my first book took me 12 years.
Wow.
So and I just started off with how I got in the wheelchair and everything, and was going to talk about overcoming, and then I tell people it's a miracle, how we upgrade our computers, that I didn't lose this manuscript from computer to computer to computer, because I know I would have never started all over. So from there, so yeah, it only took me 12 years to finally do it.
Well, but you did it.
But we did it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, Miss Susie. So let's get into this program that you got, and see how we can help people out there.
All right. Well, I use the metaphor, as you could see from the picture of the book, of crossing the bridge from stuck to freed from stuck. And we designed the FREED to identify the 5 elements. So F represents facing the bridge. And this is about identifying what I call is the real problem, because sometimes we think that something is keeping us stuck, and then we try to proceed to move forward and we don't have results. So it's really important that we're clear about identifying what's really the challenge, what really is the problem. And more often than not, the problem that is keeping us stuck is not necessarily external, but rather it's internal, having to do with some point of pain inside of us or some unmet need. So once we identify that, then we can better understand and prepare how we're going to move from stuck to freed from stuck. And the second letter, R, is recognize the bridge. And this is about looking across the bridge to the destination. And in looking at that, creating a very vivid picture that is emotionally charged of where we believe our life will be when we make the change or changes that we know we need to make. The more vivid it is, the more emotion invested in it, the greater that vision can magnetize us across the bridge. So when we have that in front of us and we stay focused on that, it fuels us to be able to weather crossing the bridge when the rain comes and the wind blows and things get unsteady. It's very, very important that we have that vision in front of us to guide us and to draw us across the bridge. The E is for embrace the bridge. And this is about identifying any blocks or obstacles that might be there for us, either externally or internally, and then putting together a strategy, a plan for crossing the bridge. The next E is exit the bridge. And this is about being aware of the need to let go of what is no longer serving us. And when we do that, it requires that we grieve. And not very many talk about the importance of grief in the change process, but it is so important because grief is the most difficult task that we engage in as human beings. And to the depth that we love is the depth that we grieve. To the depth that we are attached is to the depth that we grieve. But it's very, very important that we are willing to let go of those things that are not in our best interest in order to create a higher quality of life. And then D is discovering our our destiny as we arrive at the destination. And by that, I mean, as we are going through the change process, as we are transforming, we come to know ourselves better. We come to know who we are, what's important to us, what fuels us, what brings us purpose, what our passions are about, what satisfies us. And the more that we become aware of that, then the more we become aware of what I call our destiny or our purpose. And that is so important to appreciate in the change process because it isn't just about arriving at a goal or having a success or making a change in terms of a destination, but rather appreciating the internal change potential that takes place inside of us whenever we're becoming freed from stuck. And then, of course, we need to appreciate that every time we arrive at a destination, there will be another bridge and another bridge and another bridge, because that is our journey as human beings.
Life comes around and catches up with you more often than what you think or hope it wouldn't. So I like the acronyms which you put forward there. The one that really stands out to me is your second E when you're exiting. To me, the part that I see from several people, some of my friends, I'll go ahead and say, is they just want to hang on to their past and they can't move forward in life because I had a DUI 40 years ago and they're whining and crying. But again, they're not really doing anything to move forward to it. But yeah, they want to hang on to use their past as an excuse on not to go forward. And so, yeah, when you say exit, yeah, you got to exit that stuff, forgive yourself what happened, and go forward. We're goofy. We're going to do goofy stuff when we get older. We did it when we're younger. We're just humans, and we're going to do that. We're not going to be perfect once we figure it out. We're still going to goof up. So move forward. Forgive yourself. Move forward.
Absolutely. And permission to goof up and move forward is so important in terms of our satisfaction in life. And I think Dr. James, you're touching on an important issue with regard to if we allow ourselves to stay in a place of having been victimized, um, we relinquish our ability to create change, because it's only when we take full responsibility for ourselves and our choices that we really become empowered to create change. So as long as we're into um, blaming others, blaming the past, blaming systems, it becomes really, really difficult to move forward, because that kind of perspective is really disempowering. When we say, this is my day here today, I have the ability to make so many choices. And with each choice, I determine whether I'm going to improve the quality of my life or diminish the quality of my life. And when I realize that I have that power with every choice that I make, then I'm able to move forward in my life and potentially build momentum toward the quality of life that I want and the success that I want.
Yeah, I agree. And from there, yeah, and so also I like the idea that once we take on full responsibility, we can still use our past to springboard us over this bridge. It could give us purpose. Say I did get a DUI 40 years ago, I could use that DUI to straighten myself up and it become a counselor to help other people get off alcohol or work with the organization MAD. Okay. Or maybe in the past you had cancer and now you want to be a counselor or help someone. I mean, if nothing else, driving someone to get their treatments and bringing them back home safely when they're not feeling good. I mean, so much with that can go on. Again, I know I'm sticking on the past. It's just that they could use that still to benefit than let it hinder them.
Yes, the challenges of our life experiences, all of us, every one of us, every human being that's been on the planet have challenges. We've had losses, we've been betrayed, we've made mistakes, others have disappointed us. There's trauma, there is disease, there are financial challenges, there are relational disappointments. This is part of our human experience. And if we become entangled in the negative narrative of those experiences, we miss out on gleaning the wisdom and the insight that is there for us in those experiences. And absolutely, you're right. We can take the challenges of our life, we can take the losses and the traumas, the difficulties, the failures. We can take those experiences, and from them, we can reach out and extend to other people encouragement. We can be there because we've been there. We can extend empathy and insight, and we can be there for one another out of our woundedness. We do not have to be held back by our woundedness.
Now, again, freed, what's the acronym again?
FREED.
And meaning again?
Face the bridge, recognize the bridge, embrace the bridge, exit the bridge, and discover the destination.
Yep, I love the discovering the destination, to see what's out there, capable of what you can do, and again, to help the fellow person in the long run. Then they can learn from you to help someone else later on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, Dr. James, we're kind of all in this together.
Whether people like it or not,
Whether we
we're
like it or not, we all have people that we would prefer they are not in our lives. We just do. Um,
I'm thankful for the people that I don't like in my life or don't want to, but I'm thankful they did cross me into my life for me to learn to stay away from that, to not be involved in that, to learn, just to learn what I don't need to be involved in and to move on. So, but as well as do. We don't have to love and like whatever situation we're going through, but we need to accept it so we can move forward in life.
yes, I think it would be an unrealistic expectation that we're only going to have people in our lives that we like or they like us, or that we are going to all have the same values or perspectives. It is in our it is in our diversity that we experience the kaleidoscope of life. That's what brings the beauty to us, even though it may not always feel that way. Sometimes people can be annoying. Sometimes they can be difficult. Sometimes they can even be, toxic or dangerous. But it really is about our learning how to live together in a way that is honest and respectful and caring. While, as you were mentioning, we also attend to our boundaries. I was listening to a podcast, I think a couple weeks ago, by Brene Brown, and she was talking about research and compassion. And she said one of the surprising results that they discovered was that people who had the highest degree of compassion also had the strongest boundaries, meaning that their capacity to care for themselves allowed them to have the energy and the focus to be able to reach out and be compassionate to others.
After saying that, that just made me just think just for a second there that, for them to have the uh, strongest compassion along with the boundaries, I mean, that probably is right. I'd never thought of it like that before, but yeah, I mean, because they have the compassion to want to do and everything, but also where's that line to stay away from it? So yeah, I wouldn't, I didn't think of that, but yeah. So, and go back a minute ago, yeah, we can just disagree with each other. It goes back to doing it respectfully, caring, yeah, all this other stuff where people are today, man. You can't say something without hurting somebody, and they're ready to retaliate and everything. Instead of just going, "Yeah, you got your opinion, I got mine. Hey, let's go get a cheeseburger or something." I mean, it's not. It seems like we're far away from any of that. And I used to coach a baseball team many years ago, and I got talking to one of the umpires because coaches and umpires rarely agree with every call, in the game. And so we were talking after the game one time, and we become pretty good friends. But he made a comment that maybe realized this. He said, we can disagree and still be friends. We can still, again, like you said, be respectful and caring and things like that. He said, because if we both agree on both of what each other's saying and say, yeah, 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 he said, somebody's lying.
Mm,
Because we're not going to be, 100% agree with everything in life. He said, but if one of us is doing, yeah, 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 or both of them doing it, then somebody's lying out there.
absolutely. And part of what we cherish is the freedom to be able to speak, the freedom to share our ideas, to share our perspectives. And I think that certainly something that is so essential for us to cultivate in our relationships is our capacity to listen. And that's not always easy because particularly if we feel very strongly about something, we want to be able to, speak our perspectives, speak what we experience as our truth.
Hmm.
And when that is contrary to someone else and they disagree, we can't imagine how they could disagree because, of course, we're the right one. And so it becomes sometimes a challenge to listen. And yet, listening is so important to be able to find common ground and common understanding and common values. And it is from that place of shared values and shared commitment that we can create change in a community. The only way that can happen is if there is not only the room to speak, but also the honoring of listening. And it's so amazing when we sit down and talk with someone who has a different perspective and we begin to really listen and ask questions to better understand. I had this kind of conversation just a couple of weeks ago at some friends at a cocktail hour, and um, we started to talk about something, and I think it kind of drifted into something political. And we began to talk, and at the end of the conversation, this man said to me, "You know what I realize? We're not really that far apart."
Oh yeah.
And I said, "You're absolutely right. When it's all said and done, for the majority of us, we're not that far apart." And to be able to find that, to take the time to really have a thoughtful conversation and really listening and understanding has such great value.
It's sad that, like you said, a friend mentioned, we're really closer than we could anticipate, even though with disagreeing in things. But it's so sad that the little that we're different, more of these or these major wars or whatever is coming out of it, all these gang fights or whatever it is going on, just because of the little that we do disagree. And it just, I guess, it's just so powerful in their stance, I guess. But still, it goes back to we need to be respectful enough that we can say, "Yep, you're right," and everything. You got your opinion, I got mine. From there. All right, hey, now, Susie, tell us a little bit how you going to help someone to find something they never knew they had. Okay, deep down internal, and what they can create they never know they could.
Well, I'll tell you the best way to be able to access that and to know that is by asking good questions. And that is certainly how I work with people in my curiosity to know and understand. And the greater we develop our capacity to ask good questions, the more likely we are to get better answers. And so, in order to really explore what's going on inside of us, being able to ask good questions is so important. And I sometimes say to people that I'm working with, you just need to know we're not going to water ski, we're going to deep dive. And that is so important because that's where the richness
Hmm.
is for us to really be able to go inside and to not only explore those parts of ourselves that have been hurt or wounded or need healing or in fear, but to be able to also go in and explore and appreciate the gifts that we have inside to be able to live our life. And we have so many resources, so many gifts, so many skills, such amazing intelligence that resides inside of us. And we can learn how to use that, how to cultivate that, how to um, develop those skills. And that is about self-awareness and about practice, really, of learning how to live a good quality of life.
Yeah, I've sometimes tell people that sometimes we're going through something in life, and it's to prove to us at the end how strong we really are. Again, we don't have to like what's going on. We don't have to accept. We have to accept it. Yes, we don't have to like or love what's going on, and it could be something that we brought on ourselves from just our nature of what we're doing. Again, or it be brought on to us. And my example is that if a family's going to church one Sunday and they get hit by a drunk driver, and now this family has to suffer the consequences of the guy that decided to drink and drive. And so again, we don't have to love and like it, and it could be brought on to us. It could be again what we've done, but we've got to be able to take that pain and learn from it and go forward. And again, I'm getting all like you. We've got to help the fellow man. We're in this thing together on this big ball of dirt together, and so let's try to make it as easy and comfortable and fun loving as much possible.
Absolutely. We are here to live our lives. And the more that we show up from our higher places, our higher ways of relating to one another, meaning being respectful and truthful and loving and compassionate and empathetic, the more that we cultivate that and we live our lives from those places, literally the better the world is because of it. And I think that we are seeing the results of a lot of fear and anger and hatred and polarity and toxicity. And we're weary. Our world is weary in the suffering. And we have to ask ourselves, how long are we going to continue to live in that way? How
Yeah.
long are we going to continue to promote that? Or do we as individuals, you, Dr. James, and me, how do we decide to show up today to make the world a better place? How do we show up and bring our gifts? How do we show up and extend our compassion and our empathy and our understanding and our strength and our abilities? Those are the important questions. And therein, again, is our power to be able to not only change our lives, but to participate in the change of our world, which is needed right now. And, you are the professor of perseverance. We're talking about we're talking about a long run here. We're talking about a marathon. Like, this isn't going to happen overnight. Yet we are in this race, we are in this run. We have the opportunity to create change, and it is going to require perseverance on our part to do that.
All right, hold on, Miss Susie. You said perseverance, so let me get you a fist bump here. Whoops, that's not the fist bump. There it is. All right, so that's
What do I win? What do I
one of my
win?
little toys. One of my little toys I'm playing with, trying to learn to do on this thing. So, yeah, and I'm like you. People get overwhelmed with, I can't change the world. Okay, you don't have to change the world, but change your world. And when you're changing your world, anybody that comes revolving into you, you're going to help them change their world. And then it's going to be a chain reaction, or throw a rock in the pond, ripple effect, however you want to look at it. So change your world, and that's your world's going to help change the next person's world, and then eventually it's going to get around.
Absolutely. And, I think that people are they're looking for people who are happy. And by that, I mean satisfied in their lives. They're living their lives well in terms of good choices and contribution and purpose. And people are looking to those people to show them how to do it, and that it can be done even during these difficult and challenging times. It is so easy to be sucked in and participate in the fear-based rhetoric. It is much more challenging to rise above that and say, I am not going to live in that space. I am not going to participate in that kind of toxicity. I'm going to step out into the world, and I'm going to bring love and goodness and truth and quality, and I'm going to show up in that way. And what that does is it not only brings such a great sense of satisfaction in our own lives, it shows other people a better way. It shows them that we can live a higher quality of life. We can be happy, if you will. We can be content. And even in life's struggles and sufferings and tragedies, I'm not talking about, painting on a happy face all the time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when we come to really know who we are, the magnificence of how we have been created, and all of the amazing gifts that we have, when we get connected with that and aligned with that, and we live from that place, the quality of our life changes. And those around us are looking for people to show them that that is possible.
I was graduating with my associate's degree, and the day before they had a breakfast and giving awards out for whatever. I didn't know they did that in college, and so got the invitation, and my mom and me went for the breakfast. And I didn't know they were doing awards. They just thought we'd get a breakfast and just say goodbye to everybody. But the president award, Dr. Hal R. Raymer Award, president of the community college, he had an award, and I ended up winning it. I had no clue I was even involved into the thing. Yeah, I remember they were talking about this person, and not giving up and start doing things. And I remember leaning to my mom, said, "Man, I want to meet this person like that." And about the time they announced me being the winner of the President's Award, and so I go up there to receive it, and Dr. Raymer then told me, and you had mentioned this earlier, that there's going to be people watching you to see how you handle yourself in your situation. And they're going to try to steal your idea, not steal, borrow, take, learn from it, and try to have a better life whenever a situation hits them. And that's true for any of us. People are watching us to see how we deal with our life and situation because they want to have a better one.
Absolutely. And it's honestly not about being perfect.
No, no, no.
It really
It,
isn't
it
about
just it
trying to
just
be perfect or
do.
present in a certain way. It's about being authentic, which means sometimes you're going to make a mistake. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to need to apologize. You're going to need to make amends. Going to need to correct something. And yet, our ability to step up and do that more often than not actually brings greater respect to us. It's when we don't accept that as being part of our human experience that we're going to have limitations and blind spots, and we're going to make errors. Being able to accept that as part of our human experience and to take responsibility for that really is respected by other people. I When someone says to me, "I am so sorry, I made a mistake," I don't respond to them by saying, something snarky.
You
Oh,
sure did.
yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
I don't like guilt them or shame them for that. If they say honestly, I made a mistake and I'm going to do what I need to do to correct it, I respect them for that. I respect them more for stepping up and being that way.
Oh, exactly. Yes. I'm one of the first. I've took me a long time to really realize it, but I'm one of the first one that when I goof up, I'll go, "Hey, I goofed it up. Now I'll do what I can to make it better, to fix it, and things like it." People hear from me every day, so it's not a big deal for me. But yeah, but there's so many people out there, they'll goof up and then they want to find a way to blame it everywhere else. So, but yeah, I'm like you, man up, and then just do the best you can from there.
Yeah.
So, and you don't have to man up in front of me. Truthfully, do it to yourself and straighten up. So, all right. Today we've been talking with the author Freed from Stuck. All right, Freed from Stuck, the acronym Freed. Okay, from Stuck, dare to cross the bridge beyond grief, trauma, and self sabotage to discover lasting change now. Miss Susie Hayes, thank you for being here today. I've enjoyed our conversation today, and so go ahead and tell us your social media website. Anybody that may want to reach out and get some information, get some of your program, get some help counseling from you.
Absolutely. You can just go to freedfromstuck.com. If you'd like to have an initial 45-minute consultation at no charge, no obligation, you can go there and sign up for that. There's also blogs and other articles and lots of resources for you.
And the book we've been putting up on the screen, I know it's an Amazon one. That's where I found it.
Yep,
So you probably can find it on their website as well. So
absolutely.
all right, and I'll tell everybody else do the old Google search. I'm sure you put "freed from stuck," you'll come on up then on the Google search, and I'll put stuff in the information notes as well to make it easier for people to click on some links. So, all right, Susie, thank you for being here. Hey, we know there's people hurting and struggling today, and if you can leave us with a powerful message that would help them get through today, that'd be a blessing.
I would like for you to believe in your capacity to change and to know that you really do have the internal resources you need to create what you never knew you could. It's not just a fancy saying, it's really true. And I would leave you with two questions if you are considering a change that you probably know you need to make, but you've not yet done that. Ask yourself, if I don't make this change, what will my life be like? How will I be? If I don't make this change, how will it impact those around me, my family, my friends, my community? If I don't make this change, if I don't cross this bridge from stuck to freed from stuck, how will it ultimately impact our world? What will the ramifications be? But if I do decide to make this change, to take that step across the bridge, how will it impact me? If I do make this change, what will be the result for my children, my friends, my family, my community? How will making this change affect my health, my finances, my relationships, my spirituality, my life? How will making this change potentially impact our community and our world? And as you stand at that crossroad and you ask both of those questions, please trust that you have the capacity to figure out and to find the resources you need to be able to make the change.
Preach it, sister. Tell it like it
Yeah.
is. Don't hold back. That's what I like to hear. All right. Miss Susie, thank you again for being here. Susie Hayes, everybody, from Freed from Stuck. Again, go check out the website and go from there. Check out her book as well. So, hey, I'm Dr. James Purdue. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.